Renton residents simply wish they'd had some warning.
If we'd have known, we wouldn't have probably panicked.
Cheers and a standing ovation from Seahawks fans, but in the outlying areas, the sight of low-flying jets sparked a flood of concern calls to dispatchers and to our newsroom here at King 5. Tricia Manning-Smith reports live now from Seahawks Stadium. Tricia?
Well, Mimi, that's right. These jets were here only for a patriotic kickoff to a football game. The flight crew says it was an honor to be involved, and they had no intention of causing fear.
Got lucky and got picked to do this flyover, and we're just really excited about doing it.
From the air, Lieutenant John Franklin and his crew caught their first glimpse of the new stadium, completed while they were deployed in Afghanistan.
We got the call on the radio that there was a standing ovation, so we knew that everyone in the stadium was loving it, and I guess everyone around town definitely knew we were there, definitely heard the sound of freedom.
They heard it all right.
It was very disturbing. I mean, it did scare me.
Shannon Harbin and her neighbors in Renton are not used to low-flying Navy jets circling overhead. They immediately thought of the recent 9/11 anniversary. Then many of them dialed the numbers 911. Emergency agencies were swamped with calls.
When you don't know anything, it's like scary.
Brandon Bass and his wife captured this home video as the jets looped around their Renton home about 7 times. It turns out the flight crew was stuck in a holding pattern over Renton. The weather forced the jets to fly lower than usual until they could complete their mission over Seahawks Stadium.
So that probably made it a little bit louder for everyone, so we apologize for that.
Renton residents simply wish they'd had some warning.
If we'd have known, we wouldn't have probably panicked.
Well, we checked with the Navy and confirmed that this flight crew indeed notified Renton and Boeing Field about their weather problems and the delay. And they didn't even have to do that according to the FAA because as military jets, they had automatic authorization to fly. Reporting live tonight in Seattle, Tricia Manning-Smith, King 5 News.
All right, Tricia, thank you.
Some even called to say they were sure the country was under attack. Como's Joe Furia joins us live in the newsroom to set the record straight on that. Joe?
Oh, Kevin, it was far less sinister than that. The Seahawks opened their brand new stadium today, and the fighters, EA-6B Prowlers, were simply part of the celebration. Pat Carney shot this home video of the 2 Navy fighters from his porch in Renton. As the planes thundered over his neighborhood, he tells us it rattled his windows and his family's nerves, especially his wife.
She came in from the shower quite disturbed. She thought that maybe we were under attack. She didn't know exactly what was going on.
Here's what happened. 2 Navy fighters just like these from the Whidbey Island Naval Air Station were brought across the Sound to perform a flyover as part of the Seahawks stadium opening celebration. The flyover delighted the crowd at the game, but many people in nearby neighborhoods, like Pat Carney and his family, had no idea the fighters were coming. There were dozens of frantic calls into the Como 4 newsroom, people trying to find out what was going on. Now, in fairness, the Seahawks did send out a note in a recent press release about the flyover, but it didn't receive a great deal of publicity. And in light of the country just being put on high alert for terrorism and the mood only 4 days after the September 11th anniversary, the jets, as innocent as their intent may have been, definitely scared some folks.
This was definitely a surprise. So, yeah, if we'd have had some kind of forewarning or some sort of maybe emergency notification or something that these guys were just going to fly through, it wouldn't have been a problem. But I think a lot of the neighborhood got a little shaken up.
So the flyover gave everyone in the area quite a thrill, both those at the game and those in neighborhoods all over Western Washington. Kevin?
All right. Thank you, Joe, for clearing.
EA-6B Prowlers is called the Sound of Freedom, but when 2 of the radar-jamming planes flew over the Renton Highlands early this afternoon, our phones rang off the hook with residents who said they were scared. KIRO 7 Eyewitness News reporter Deborah Horn is live in Renton with the very latest. Deborah?
Allison, it turns out those planes were a part of the show at the new Seahawks Stadium, but nobody here in the Renton Highlands knew that, and some of the people here thought we were under attack.
It was right here. I mean, it was just right over the house here. So it's just so scary. And
Vicki Metzger and her daughter Cammie say it sounded like thunder when two EA-6B Prowlers flew just above the treetops in the Renton Highlands. Home video captures the sight and sound of it that put an entire neighborhood on edge.
After going around, they went around 7 or 8 times and then left. And then when they came back, it was even more nervous. You know, we were nervous trying to figure out what was going on.
Especially this week with September 11th, right? And what? Just the fear.
It was pretty scary.
Next door, Corey Midgarden and his friends were holding a yard sale. They rushed to snap off these photos when the planes roared by. The Prowlers looking like mere specks in the clouds here, but absolutely fearsome overhead.
Almost seemed like it could have been like another terrorist attack. And I mean, that's kind of stupid to think, but I mean, they were big planes.
He was not alone. The Prowlers were actually part of the big doings at the season opener at the new Seahawks Stadium. But since not many people knew that, and with the country at a heightened state of alert since last week, it rattled this neighborhood's already sensitive nerves.
You know, that sound was so scary. It was just terrible.
What was most upsetting the people here in the Renton Highlands say was the not knowing. They say they wish somebody had told them those Prowlers would be overhead this afternoon. Reporting live in Renton, Deborah Horn, KIRO 7 Eyewitness News.